The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on a break!
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
Hey guys, welcome to The Break. Today is just Nick, Dave, and I. Eagleton is just too busy for us today, but that's okay. We can manage the show without him. Now, let's just give... Okay.
No. What? K?
Okay.
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 ¿Qué pasa?
It's
¿Qué pasa?
It's been one of those weeks.
Yeah,
I
when
mean,
everybody's when you win a game to put you on the cusp of a division title, everybody's got to have a meeting. It seems like
it's been everything you could think of this week, but
it's been
almost there.
It's been pretty hectic.
Which, by the way, if we don't get into it, this is actually our last show of the week. So if you do want to throw some predictions out there,
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
Did you read my notes, Nick?
no, I didn't.
I handed it to you.
I'll be here though. I'll be here tomorrow.
You
You
did
will be. There
Joint
will be
show?
a joint show tomorrow.
I'm excited. I haven't done radio with Brian since the draft show, I think. So
Aw.
yeah.
I mean, I'm excited about
Reunion.
this show. This show to me is a big deal too.
Aw,
Hey,
so
I know that.
cute.
I just
No, this is Dave Hellman's last show ever in his 20s.
it's true. Thank you for the reminder.
That is true. All right.
Tomorrow,
About
big day.
12 more hours. 12 more hours
Gets
of youth before it's all
dirty
over.
tomorrow.
Dirty 30, baby.
Big day.
No, it's not. But yeah, it's fine. I'm not.
No, yeah,
I'm not
I mean,
freaking
yeah,
out.
maybe.
I'm not freaking out. I'm freaking out a little bit, but it's cool.
You'll be fine. Just one day. Well, Brian wasn't. He was kind of depressed a little bit yesterday. Was it? Yes, yesterday.
It's been birthday week for us
Yesterday.
here.
Getting older sucks, man.
55 brought us. Yeah.
Age is just a number, but when the number starts getting larger, you're just like, this kind of sucks.
And by the way, Amber, you went to what? 23, 24, whatever, this week, last weekend. So it's
Saturday.
been a week of birthdays. Mickey, Brian,
Our whole staff was born in December, it seems like.
Derek. Yep.
Nice.
Good times.
Anyway.
Sagittarius people. All right. Well, I wanted to get into a little quick update on the injuries and some of the guys. We still had Tavon Austin and Sean Lee practicing again. And was Zeke back at practice?
Zeke was back at practice. That's, purely a maintenance situation.
Rest.
He had a stinger in the game. He said he's fine.
Zack Martin.
The dude had 40 touches, and
Yeah.
they're gonna. No, and Zach is not
out.
back, which
Not playing.
it's not trending that way. Again, he's in that class of guy that doesn't need practice. I trust that he could suit up if he felt it, but not even to see him at practice on Thursday of game week, it does not seem like a good sign for anybody. So something to watch, but it's starting to feel like it might
it's
be.
such a healthy lead. 3-game cushion,
Right.
pretty much. And you look around, Philadelphia doesn't know if they're going to play Carson Wentz this week, even though they just got a Super Bowl MVP.
You can't. I get it. Like, you can't afford to think of this as like, well, it's okay if we
Throwaway
lose.
game, but-
but no need to rush your best player out there if he's not ready for it in this situation.
I will say this though, I don't think Tavon Austin. If I had to guess, I don't think he's going to play. He has back to practice now. They called it limited on Wednesday. Probably will be limited here. And just listening to him in the locker room, he
Didn't sound like
he didn't
it.
sound like he called. It sounded like Garrett. He was like, it's a process, and we're still working on things. And just seeing him a little bit of practice today. He wasn't working with that first group. He was kind of working with more of the practice squad guys, second wave of group. But
And that's, if I don't want to misquote him, but he was telling reporters like his muscle like kind of came off
the bone.
Yeah,
I heard off the bone.
I heard off the bone,
kind
and
of turned and went the other way.
yeah, those are types of things that typically require surgery. Which you think about it, when he got hurt, there was kind of some debate about whether he needed to go to IR, and they opted not to. So, and we have fun with Tavon. He likes to dance and all that, but if his muscle was coming off the bone,
Right.
that's pretty severe thing.
Been back on the bone for a while though.
Yeah, no, it had
Been
but
bad to the bone.
I'm just saying, there's a difference between dancing at practice and running in an NFL football game. So I wouldn't be surprised if he
Not a
doesn't play.
huge difference. Not the way he dances.
It's a pretty big difference.
Isn't like
It's a pretty big difference between. I mean, I dance at practice, as y'all like to note, and I definitely am not ready to play.
Pretty different moves, though.
Yeah, mine are better. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. That's a long process, and yeah, I mean, 3 limited practices might not be enough to get you back from a 9-week absence.
I've got one for y'all too. David Irving not at practice.
Nope,
not at practice. Continue the streak.
I wanted to talk about him real quick, but before we
Why?
Because again, yes, we know what it is right now, which is we don't know basically.
We know that we don't know.
But people keep asking about him, so just. Again, a quick update for everyone that keeps asking about David Irving. When is he coming back? As of right now, I mean, the expectation is nothing. It's like we'll see him if it's on the field ever.
I think there are people in the building that kind of expected this almost. He's got so much going on in his life. You know, you're not getting paid, but if you come back, can you get hurt? You still get paid. There's something weird going on because high ankle sprain, I get it, but all these other injuries that we talked about, the guys are there, they're traveling. Travis Frederick's been at every game. Lee's going to every game. It's a different thing going on for sure.
But he hasn't been here.
He hasn't been here at all. And also, there's no doubt. What is the tightest knit group in the
D-line?
D-line, the Hot Boys. They got their own name, got their logo. Do they want him back? I mean, that's the question that I have. I mean, they would want a great player back or a good player who can be great, but these other guys are playing so well that they're all in. They have bought all into this thing, and here's a guy that's not there. And if he comes back, you would think it would just be because there's playoff and playoff money to be had.
Yeah, no, I think they would want him back. They probably, there's probably some. I would bet they're aggravated, but.
I remember
Demarcus Lawrence would love to have a guy of his caliber eating up attention that he can take advantage of, I'm sure.
I remember at the beginning of the season when we were back at training camp, somebody over in that area was telling me a story of like the relationship or dynamic with the whole David Irving situation where, yes, David Irving, a very talented guy, he has it in him. But as far as the attitude and what he's bringing and the effort that he's making, it's not there. And someone told me that Sean Lee had a conversation with him, and Sean Lee was very upset, and it just all the teammates were just. And when you have that, it affects everything, and you don't want someone that's kind of sharing the victory with you that's not really putting in the work when you're out here sweating every day.
And because a guy like Karan Reed or Daniel Ross, let's say, is inactive for a game. They've been busting their butt through this winning streak and winning some games and helping them and playing pretty well, playing a role. And then, if somebody were to come, let's say he comes back and, one of those guys would be inactive. It's a business. That's the way it goes. You got to get your best player. And as Tyrone Crawford said a few weeks ago, could anyone come back with not practice and just play well and contribute? And he said, yeah, David can.
Yep.
So he's a freak. He's a freak, and you're going to play those guys, but...
And it's the exact same conversation we've had a million times. Is David Irving the right kind of guy in the pure sense of like what Jason Garrett talks about? Not really. Like he's an actor. He's in commercials. He is an eccentric guy. Like he does not eat, breathe, and sleep and sweat football like Sean Lee. He doesn't, and I think David Irving would admit that. I'm not trying to talk trash on him, but he's a freak. He's a freak, and that's how that line one is. Are you a freak when it comes to being a football player? Like that's line one, and then the rest of that always falls into place behind it. And that's why you put up with it. It's a weird situation, but if he does make his way back, they sure as hell could use him when these games get more meaningful in the playoffs.
But again, like next year, you're not taking that's your chances again. This was his other chance. They've already done this with him twice.
It would shock me to see him get any type of long-term deal here.
I had a coach on this staff tell me that he was just a little bit, just a few months away from just back in the truck, and just loading up the cash. He was going to get one of the biggest deals there is if he has a really good year this year. He was going to get, want to be one of the highest paid defensive tackles. Now he will probably be, he will, try to get his life in order in the offseason. I doubt the Cowboys re-sign him, but it'll probably be a minimum deal.
And if the Cowboys do, it would probably be another 1 year situation.
1 year situation, but I don't think anybody in the league would do anything more than that.
I can't imagine that they would.
So
based on the last,
it's too bad.
year and change.
That is so sad. It makes me so sad when you see someone that he has it. He was born with the freaking talent and he just unable to use it. And another thing that makes me sad is like Rico Gathers when you see someone different thing because it's very different. But I'm saying Rico Gathers has the size. Yeah. And when you look at that size, how much you can utilize a guy like him. And we talked yesterday about using the tight ends and in the red zone and all that. And I kept receiving questions, so I thought maybe we bring it up once again. Mm-hmm. As far as the red zone goes, and after seeing how the tight ends played last weekend, would you want to consider using them in the red zone somehow, getting them involved and trying to get the ball to them and possibly cashing in on this?
I think he's the best option down there for that if you're going to really focus on a tight end, because I think he's one guy that can go up and get the football, and he presents a mismatch for you. Now you can't have a missed assignment on blocking, and you can't. That's not a good place for a penalty. So I mean.
Or a missed block.
Or anything like that. But
you decide to run the ball down there.
Right. But
do you think the Cowboys are kind of moving on from this? Because at the beginning of the season, we saw how many opportunities they gave Rico in the red zone, and it just never really worked out for them. And then eventually we saw that kind of fade out and disappear.
I mean, one thing has been pretty clear, and I hate saying this, but if a guy's wide open, either in the end zone or streaking for the end zone, that's not Dak's favorite pass. That's just not what he's going to. He's going to overthrow Rico, which is hard to do. You have to hit a banner to overthrow him. He's overthrown Gallup or underthrown a couple times. So wide open going to the end zone, that's not his thing. But I say that because Rico, he was open a couple of times down there. And I mean.
Yeah, was that New York, the bad overthrow in the back of the end zone?
It feels like 2015.
I mean, it really, yeah.
That game against the Giants.
A long time ago.
Yeah. I think it was New York. Or maybe,
I think it was. Second game.
So.
But hey, maybe give it another try.
They need to try some things down there. This is a good time to ring.
And it seems like Dak's passes are getting a little better.
Typically you see
there, just in general.
Typically you see signs of those trends before they appear. Like you could see even before he started making plays, you could see Michael Gallup's snaps trending upward, and you could see them trying to do more with him. And I don't get that sense from Rico. Like, I don't get the sense that they're trying to incorporate him on some new level. If anything, Jarwin and Schultz.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're not really big enough that I think of them as these like drastic red zone mismatch guys. But I do think based on their success in this last game, I bet we'll see more of them in these last 3 weeks.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, let's dive into the Colts defense. Dave is going to give us a pretty cool report, hopefully.
Thanks for that vote of confidence.
If you're like me and you love... if you have a thing, then cutting the cord is scary. But then I found out I could switch to DirecTV Now and still get the live sports I love. No satellite needed, no bulky hardware, no annual contract, just...
Get the live sports you love. Try DirecTV Now for $10 a month for 3 months. Visit DirecTVNow.com. DirecTV Now. More for your thing. That's our thing. Use code REALDEAL. Limited time. Price for a little package. After 3 months, renews monthly at full price. Currently minimum $40 unless canceled. Prices may change. New subscribers only. Cancel anytime. Content varies by package and may be limited. Restrictions apply.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. This is the second segment of the break.
It's a good point Dave just made. It's a good point.
I mean, that was...
Our off-the-air conversations.
We've never had an
pretty...
off-the-air conversation like that. That was good. Yeah.
They're pretty good. Now, let's hope this report is good, but not so good at the same time. What do you got to say about this Colts defense?
This is easy, AG, because if you've ever watched the Cowboys play defense, then you got it. It's over. It's the same thing.
Same thing?
Matt Eberflus. Where did he coach?
Dallas.
He was just like Chris Richard is the defensive coordinator, sort of behind the scenes. Eberflus was the same guy here. He was the passing game coordinator. He helped put the game plan together and let Rod Marinelli worry about the rushmen. So this is 4-3 Tampa 2 stuff. The personnel's a little bit different, but this is the same stuff.
Freeney's not there anymore. Freeney.
No.
Not there.
Freeney's not there. Mathis isn't there. Gary Brackett's not there anymore.
That's all I really know.
Gary Brackett was one of my faves.
Like Bob Sanders.
Bob Sanders would have been a Hall of Famer if he could stay on the field.
You have a pretty good young rookie linebacker.
They do. Well, okay.
All right, do your thing.
No, I mean, it's the same thing. They're stout against the run. They're 8th in run defense. They're not quite as good as the Cowboys against the pass. They're not quite as they're they're not as good by just a little bit. 23 points per game instead of 18. 15th against the pass instead of, I think the Cowboys are 6th right now or something like that. But they want to get pressure with their front. They have athletic linebackers and a young secondary full of draft picks. Does that sound pretty familiar? Darius Leonard is the guy. It's unbelievable. I mean, he's a 2nd-round pick. I think he was the 59th pick or somewhere around there.
You guys loved him on the draft show.
Brian was absolutely in love with him.
And Dane did too.
They're smart guys. Garrett told us that he was like, it's absolutely no surprise to us that Matt Eberflus wanted this guy because he just fits what this defense is for. He's super athletic. He's a tackling machine. 135 tackles. He leads the entire NFL as a rookie, and not a first-round pick. That's unbelievable to me. And I didn't know this because, again, I would argue the Colts are probably the team in the league that people just know the least about. They got another linebacker by the name of Anthony Walker. 97 tackles and 10 for loss. So he's the Jalen to Leonard's Van Der Esch. Seriously, I mean, it's the same stuff. There's not as much talent on the really the rest of the defense, in my opinion. Like I said, they're just a step below. I circled this. They got draft picks all over their secondary, but Malik Hooker's a 1st-round pick, but Clayton Geathers, their other safety, is a 4th-round pick. Nate Hairston, their corner's a 5th-round pick. Quincy Wilson out of Florida is kind of their do-everything nickel guy. He's a 2nd-round pick. So it's not as many resources. I don't think so compared to like Byron, Cheeto, Jordan. These guys all being top 100 picks. And then you can tell they're talent deficient up front because literally only one of their rotation of 8 guys, or two of them, is like homegrown talents. They got Margus Hunt, who's a washout from Cincinnati. Danico Autry. Have you ever heard that name?
No.
Which he might make the Pro Bowl.
Who are you?
He might make the Pro Bowl. Defensive tackle. They stole him out of Oakland. He's got 8 sacks. He's had 5 in the last 2 games.
Wow.
AFC Defensive Player of the Week. And then Jabal Sheard is a guy they got from New England. He's got 5.5 sacks. He's their best
What's
passer.
his first name?
Jabal.
Jabal
Sheard.
Nice.
You pronounce it? Yeah, Jabal Sheard.
Ball.
So in my opinion, and just like we talked about the offense yesterday, like they're clearly trying to revamp this thing. They're gonna be signing and drafting guys with all that cap space and their draft picks, but they're trying to make it work right now with what they got, and it's working pretty well. Like they've got just as many sacks as the Cowboys have with 35. I think that's the biggest difference. Matt Eberflus, without Rod Marinelli, seems like he's more willing to bring pressure. They've been blitzing a lot the last 2 weeks. They've got 14 sacks in their last 4 games. A lot of that is coming from corner blitzes, slot blitzes. Darius Leonard blitzes like a madman. He's got 7 sacks.
Wow.
That would put him at second on this team.
And see, that's the big difference between him and Van Der Esch.
Yeah.
Van Der Esch has a lot of tackles too, but he doesn't have any sacks.
And and it works for Rod Marinelli. I mean, the pass rush has been good this year, so I'm not trying to knock him, but he doesn't like to bring pressure. Like it's, I mean, I know they've done it at times this year, they've done it at times in the past, but he would prefer for his front to get all the pressure. Whereas it looks like, I think Matt Eberflus looked at his guys and was like, this isn't getting it done, so we're going to start blitzing, and it's working for him to this point.
That's the way to do it.
You know, and Eberflus knows this offensive line pretty well,
Yeah.
and he's gone up against it in practice, and he usually had Frederick and Martin and a better version of Tyron Smith, and now doesn't look like Martin will play.
Yeah.
We'll see. But it's gonna, if Connor Williams, Xavier Suafilo, and Joe Looney are the 3 guys in the middle, and he likes the blitz, we're gonna see even more of that.
Not only does he like to blitz, that's the other thing too. Is, you know, I don't think Danico Autry is on the level of a Kawan Short, but or a Fletcher Cox, but we've seen what those type of players can do. You talk about Zack Martin not being there, that's a problem unto itself. Autry. He had 4 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2.5 tackles for loss last week.
It seems like if they're a team that likes to blitz and gets some sacks, they typically don't rank 8th overall in run defense. I mean, it seems like it's a very controlled type blitz, a good run blitz type, where you're not, you know, leaving yourself open for a big run or big play there.
And they are. I mean, I always say this, like, I trust the Cowboys to be able to run the ball against anybody, but like those numbers aren't fluky, because since they started winning these games, they've only allowed one team to go over 100 yards as a team in the last 5 weeks. As a team. So that's pretty good. They're very opportunistic. They've got 21 takeaways. That's 5 more than the Cowboys have. This last game against the Texans was the first time all year they have not managed to take away in a game. That's pretty impressive. I looked it up for the sake of comparison. The Cowboys haven't managed to take away in 3 games. So they're all right, but these guys, they play opportunistic defense. They get picks, they get fumbles.
And with Dak, I mean, that's not hard to do.
I mean, at this point, you know, I'm posting a column right now about how I'm sold on Dak. Like, for better or for worse, his warts and all of that, I'm sold. I'm fine with it. But I can't deny his ball security has been bad for most of the last, basically for this entire winning streak, especially in the pocket, which is a problem against a good pass rush.
Yeah, and we've seen how many fumbles he's had, and he's been pretty lucky at getting the ball back. But last week, that's where it didn't really work out.
You know,
they recovered it.
The fumbles that he's had, I mean, I guess he does lead the league in fumbles, but like that's not that surprising considering that he's been sacked almost 50 times.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I guess so if you look at it.
I mean, it's not like just being tackled; it's being tackled when you're looking up and you're about to throw. I mean, now he has been fortunate to get some of these fumbles back, but a guy that has that many sacks is going to fumble the ball a lot.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't know. Just hold on to it. Just hold on to the ball.
I mean, you think that divisional game against the Packers 2 years ago, I mean, Jeff Heath hit Aaron Rodgers as hard as you can hit someone in the back.
Miracle.
And it's like, that should have been a fumble, and they recover it. Bailey goes right out onto the field and kicks a field goal, and they should win and go to the championship game. It would have been my first NFC championship game if you haven't noticed that.
Yes.
Yours
and a lot of other people here.
So, and he didn't. He didn't fumble the ball, and then like I don't know. That's a credit. It shocks me that these guys get hit sometimes and don't fumble.
Well, and it's something that we make fun of during the combine. It's the underwear Olympics, but like hand size matters when it comes to stuff like that. Like if you can just palm the ball, and especially if you've got 2 hands on it, and I'm not a quarterbacks coach, but that's why they always say, you know, you got to hold it up here and give yourself better leverage for when somebody comes to swipe that thing.
Right.
And if you got both your paws on it, and if your hands are as big as people would prefer them to be, you at least have a decent shot. And I don't know Dak's hand size off the top of my head, but I think they're big enough that he should be able to do that. I just think work on it a little bit.
Okay. They're big. Because one day he was at the podium. Hold on. Don't laugh.
think he should wear a glove on his non-dominant hand.
I'm sorry. I actually, like, he has literally had so many, and I'm not talking about getting mauled by a guy and dropping the ball. Like, he's had so many weird plays, like the one where he kind of dribbled it to himself, and he's had a couple Aaron Brooks moments where he goes back to throw and it comes out. Like, I'm wondering if, like, are his hands just sweating during these games, and, like, maybe he should be wearing gloves. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger does it.
Just wear one on your non-throwing hand if you can't throw with one.
I think it's
so if you're running with the ball, it gives you a little bit better shot of holding on to it.
I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I will pass that on to Dak, and he will say, "Who are you?"
Well, let me clarify something real quick. Yeah. The hand comment, I just saw him talking at the podium after a game one day, and he holds the podium right here. And I was just looking at it. I'm like, oh my God, they're big. Like, I that's something that you don't really pay attention or like see up close as far as like hands from a quarterback. So it's crazy. But I wanted to ask you about something else. You mentioned the secondary being pretty young. How do you see them playing against, again, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, just the Cowboys wide receivers overall?
Well, I mean, again, this is the Dallas defense. I mean, it's not the Dallas defense. Tampa defense goes back forever, but they're gonna limit the big play. Malik Hooker's like your center fielder. I think. No, I know. I mean, he was a 17th overall pick. He is a better safety in terms of like instincts and coverage, I think, than the guys here. He's going to be back there. So they're good at limiting the big play. I think there's plays to be made against these guys.
Slants all day long, because if you're going to blitz and you're going to eliminate the big play, that means the middle should be open. But that's not where Dak has been great. I mean, he can throw the slant, but we've seen some of those interceptions, middle of the field, throwing the ball like intermediate left side. 2 picks in that game.
I hate to lean on this because we just saw them have a good game for the first time ever, but it'd be a nice day for the tight ends to carry that over.
Well, let's go ahead and take an early break this time. When we come back, we're going to get into game day predictions since we don't have a show tomorrow as far as Nick and I.
While a player can look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
It's time for Tailgate with the OtterBox boys.
OtterBox? The makers of those crazy protective phone cases?
The one and only. They're also wild about protecting parking lot parties from sad drinks. It's why they made elevation tumblers.
Rumor around the crock pot is they're made from stainless steel with a copper lining to keep temps hot or cold.
True. They even come in 7 different sizes, up to 64 ounce, the growler.
I like how OtterBox drinks. I mean, thanks.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Playmaker, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The Playmaker includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized Intense Therapy lip balm and a Cowboys can cooler. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word Cowboys. The Jack Black Playmaker, $10, free shipping.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to the break.
It's time to put Tommy John on your end zone. Underwear is guaranteed to never ride up. Trust me, I wear it. It's nothing like you've ever worn before. TommyJohn.com/Cowboys. You get 20% off your first order. Good Christmas gift for you or for anyone around you.
Yeah, for women too.
There you go.
Very, very soft fabric.
There you go.
Very comfortable.
I think I've completed it. Let's go. Just chiming
I
in.
didn't know it was a crime for me to talk. I am the host, though.
Whoa.
So, good thing.
Let's
I'm the
roll.
host today.
Let's go.
I say when we go.
Okay.
Jesus.
All right, let's go now.
Okay.
Game day predictions. In honor to you, Nick, I wanted to make sure we did not miss the opportunity to get.
I'm going to go for Derek here.
Let's start off with Derek Eagleton.
Derek's going to tell you that it's going to be close, and the Colts are pretty good, but I'm going to go with Cowboys here. And
close, hard-fought game. Like I do think this is a team you got to look out for. Cowboys.
Wait.
45
So is the
to 10.
roof open or not?
I would be surprised if they open the roof.
That may change, Derek's.
Yeah,
Well, no,
that's
it
a
still
good
comes
point.
down to Cowboys.
Hard-fought game, but give me Cowboys 90-0.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go back.
You go back.
I'm gonna go back and he's picked against them probably once this year.
I don't think.
I don't think
You don't think so?
He's picked all Cowboys.
No, his record is
Good for him.
85.
He knew it all along.
He did. I am going. I don't know. I don't see what the fuss is about with the Colts, and I obviously their defense is pretty good, but I don't think that they're going to be able to score a whole lot of points. But I do think it'll be a challenging game. You can't keep losing guys on the offensive line and expect it's just going to be okay. So especially your best overall player in Zack Martin. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I still think the Cowboys I think they've got it rolling at this point. I'm going to let Dave actually put my score in, but I've got the Cowboys doubling up the Colts. So you pick the score.
So doubling up the Colts, based on these teams, I'm saying that means they win 20-10.
Okay, sounds good. I was going to 26-13 something, but 20-10. That's my score.
Other than 20-10, if you're going to double somebody up
in a football score,
it's hard to come up with they're not going to win 21-11, are they? Or 22-11.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. I can't do math.
Yeah.
24-12. I doubt it.
Yeah.
28-14. I guess. There you go.
All right.
20-10.
That sounds good.
Nick's got him winning
20-10.
That sounds good. What about you, Dave?
I sort of agree with Nick. On paper, I don't see what the fuss is about. But if you watch them play, the defense is swarming. They got a lot of young talent. They're confident. They're at home. Maybe most importantly, they need it. They need it. They're fighting for. they're two.
FOFL.
Yeah, they're fighting for their lives. The Cowboys haven't clinched anything, but they have a nice little cushion that they've built here that they don't need this game quite as bad. I think desperate team theory comes into play. Having said all of that, basically what I'm saying is this game gives me an uneasy feeling, but I'm too convinced by everything the Cowboys have done these last 5 weeks, and I don't think the Colts are so good that I'm going to bet against them now. If they were playing the Saints or the Rams, I'd pick them to lose. But this Colts team is scrappy but flawed, and I just think the Cowboys ought to be good enough to sneak out of there with a win. I do not think it'll be comfortable.
Yeah. Does it concern you? It has been a while since the Cowboys have played away from home.
Yeah.
We know the struggles they had, but at the same time, they did not have Amari Cooper.
No, well,
all that.
they were terrible on the road before
Yeah.
Coop, but when in the two games they played since they got him, they beat the Eagles and the Falcons.
Yep.
Which were those games comfortable for anybody? No, they were not.
None of these 5 games have been comfortable.
No, and that I expect it to continue. I think Luck can beat these guys. He can make some plays on this defense, but they don't run the ball that well, and
that's my thing. I just don't think they can be.
I got Cowboys winning 20-16. There we go. A nice ugly score. A score that implies a lot of field goals and a tense finish, because that's probably what's going to happen.
Okay.
What do you got?
Mine is simple. I picked the Cowboys. I'm in. They've sweetened me up. I'm riding with them all the way, and I think it will come down to an extra point or something like that. Just one extra point, they'll make it in and they win the game.
Every noon window in the NFL has at least one berserk finish. I mean, the last time this team played at noon was Atlanta. Game-winning field goal at the buzzer. The Dolphins and the Patriots, what they just did the other day. The Colts and the Texans played a frantic finish the other day, and so that's what's going to happen. It'll be. I looked this up for my column actually, and now I forgot. I think 8 of their 13 games have been 10 of their 13 games have been decided by a score.
One score.
And 6 have been in doubt in the final minutes, and 4 have been decided on the final play of the game.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you're expecting anything other than stress, you're probably wrong.
Houston, Detroit,
first Washington game, and then this Eagles game. No, wait, no. So 5. Five. Atlanta, too.
Yeah, Atlanta.
Houston, Detroit, Atlanta,
5 of
Philly,
13 games on the final play of the game.
Yeah, that's nuts. Even by the Cowboys standards, which also for my column, did I tell you this? I know I told Brian. So Philly was my 96th regular season game. Or no, my 96th game that counted between regular season and playoffs, covering the team. 37 of them have been decided by a score or less, or been close at the finish.
So the playoff game on January 5th or 6th will be your 100th game.
That sounds right, yes.
Nice.
I hope it's the 6th. I'm in a wedding on the 5th.
Oh yeah, we've talked about this.
But yeah, a third of the time this team plays, it's stressful.
Okay,
that's crazy.
No doubt. Now let's answer some Twitter question. I've seen several people asking about the same topic, but do you guys think that the Cowboys will end up losing Chris Richard during the offseason? And if so, what will happen to the defense? Are you guys concerned that would really affect the defense and what they've been able to accomplish so far?
Well, I think it would be a tough loss, but I don't know any other way around it, really. It just depends on how things finish here. With each game and each win, you kind of wonder about Jason Garrett's, future. I mean, I still think that, I've said all along this season that I thought that Garrett needs to be in the NFC Championship game or win a couple of games in the playoffs, or he probably won't be back. But every season's different, and the way this thing has gone right now, it's like you wouldn't think that they would make a change there. And that's really the only way to keep him. I say all that because that's really the only way to keep Richard. You can't make him the defensive coordinator or all that. If he gets offered a head coaching job, then he'll.
Oh, he's gonna go for it.
But
I talked to him when I talked to him back at training camp. I asked him basically that same question, like, are you wanting to be a head coach? Like, and he, without hesitation, he's like, absolutely.
And that's why he's here.
Yeah,
he's here because the Dallas Cowboys are very visible, and they're going to be on TV, and they're going to show him, and especially if he gets in a fight with the other team before a game.
I will say this though, and I mean, barring just a complete collapse, I can't imagine that Jason Garrett doesn't keep his job. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a good thing for your odds of keeping Chris Richard, because he can only leave for a head coaching job, right? I mean, the Cowboys don't have to let him out of his contract to go be somebody else's coordinator, right?
Right.
He can only
leave your contract for a head coaching job,
right? And I know we think the world of him. He's done wonders for this defense, but you kind of got to take a step back too. Is one season in Dallas as the co-defensive coordinator enough to get you a head coaching
job? For me, yes.
That's what I just said. Of course, for you, like you know him, you like him, you've watched him.
Just sign here. Sign here.
He's gonna get in the room with somebody for an interview.
It's possible.
Is he gonna lose it in that room?
Probably not.
I mean, he's gonna win it.
Gosh, just the way he carries himself and the way the things that he says. I mean, I will hire him in a heartbeat.
My only point being, but there's only so many. There will probably be 8 openings or something like that, and that's not a lot of openings. And there's a lot of talented coaches at the NFL level, college football coaches, and it's a big job to give to somebody. So, I'm not betting against Chris Richard. I'm just saying, 1 year in Dallas. It might not be enough to sway some people that he's ready for it. I don't know.
How many years is in his contract?
They don't release those, but typically coaching contracts are 2 or 3 years.
He's certainly going to get interviews because he's deserving. I'll just say that. He is absolutely deserving, and he'll get interviews. He'll also get interviews because you have to interview an African-American, and he would be right at the top of the charts for anybody that has a vacancy to interview him. But I'm saying that because he's absolutely deserving.
Yeah.
But he's going to get in a room, and I can't see him losing the job there.
Yeah.
So I say all that. Let's just say, I don't know, 2-1 here down the stretch, whatever. Cowboys 4th seed. They win the division, get the hats, all that stuff. Seattle comes in.
So 2-1, 10-6?
10-6 finish. 10-6 finish. They're the NFC East champions. You're the 4th seed. You play Seattle, you lose. You didn't play well. Highlighters came in. They beat you. Russell, you couldn't tackle them. They beat you. Low-scoring game. They beat you 13-10, and you're out. All this excitement, all this finish the fight, all that stuff, and you've lost.
Yep. A very possible outcome.
He may not be the head coach.
It's possible.
Because right now, it's a 5-game winning streak. You're at the top of the roller coaster here. Like, wow, this is great. But if it doesn't end in a favorable way, especially after a one and done, because I know there were some unhappy people when they lost to the Packers 2 years ago after 13-3. So if that happens again, I don't think it's a guarantee, because what we've seen right now is good. If it's not a Super Bowl, it's gonna end in a frustrating, disappointing way, and I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's possible to envision a scenario where you make the playoffs and people are just freaking furious at the way it finishes. I mean, yeah, what you just described. And honestly, I don't know the answer. Like, I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like, okay, yeah, you lose to the Colts, then you win the last two, you win the division, you play Seattle, and you play like crap and you lose. I wouldn't be surprised by either outcome. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, let's run it back. Maybe we get a new offensive coordinator. Maybe we promote Chris Richard, and we're good. Or maybe it sucks so much that you blow the whole thing up. I love to say there's only like 2 or 3 people in the world that can answer that question.
Right. I think the best scenario for him that doesn't include a Super Bowl victory is you got to win that first game. You go to the Saints or the Rams, probably maybe the Saints, and you got to compete. You got to ball out in that game and have a good showing. If you don't beat the 1 or 2 best teams in the league on the road, I don't see them really making a change there. But I think if whatever it is, if it ends in a shocking / disappointing way, because losing is going to be disappointing, but in a surprising, disappointing fashion, I don't think that's good for the coach.
As long as you don't, for lack of a better phrase, like wet the bed, you're 13-3, you won 11 games in a row, and you lose your first game, people would describe that as wetting the bed.
Yeah,
and if you no-show,
I deal with that a lot lately. And
hey,
you gotta have some patience there.
You got a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So don't
wet the bed.
Don't come out and play terrible in the first playoff game. Like that's a bad idea.
That talks when you start saying like when you talked about the 2 different scenarios and possibilities, and when it comes down to like the whole wiping out the whole thing, I don't really understand that whole concept. And I know how if you bring a certain head coach or whatever, they bring in their staff that they want and all that. But why would you wipe out, let's say, someone that has actually done some positive things, although the end outcome...
Garrett? Are we talking about Garrett?
No, I'm talking about, like, let's say different positions.
Position
coaches.
There's no guarantee of that, first of all, which this week is a great example. Matt Eberflus signed in Indy to be Josh McDaniels' defensive coordinator. And he went back to New England. He bailed on them. They hired a new head coach, and they were like, we'll keep Eberflus around. Like, we can do that. So in a scenario where another coach came in here, like, he could opt to try to keep Chris Richard, and Chris Richard could hang around here. But the answer to your question is because coaches want to work with who they want to work with. It's like, Chris, you're really great and yada yada, but you run Seattle's defense, and I want to run the Jets defense. I mean, so I'm trying to think of an analogy, but you want
I get it.
You want the people that make you feel comfortable with what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if they don't fit that, then you can go somewhere else.
We'll have to keep waiting to see what really happens in this offseason. But in the meantime, we have a game against the Colts this weekend. Let's hope the Cowboys come out with another win. And, the guys, Dave,
we'll be
Brian
on at
Broaddus.
9 o'clock tomorrow.
Rob, Nate.
I'm excited about this show. Brian basically, when I got here this morning, he was like, "We're gonna fight for an hour." Like so.
Nice. That's the attitude.
He's gonna. Yeah, we're gonna have some good spirited discussion.
You don't fight with someone on their birthday.
Sure you do. Like not fight. Like he's not gonna punch.
I fought with Brian all day yesterday.
That's true.
It'll be fun.
He fights with me all the time. Anyways,
we're gonna have a hat right here on Monday. If they win this game.
Oh, sweet.
We'll get one. We'll steal one from somebody.
That would be dope. Yeah, they'll have
championship
hundreds of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. For Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Amber Garcia, this has been Cowboys Break on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?